You're all welcome to today's News Deep Analysis. This is not gossip. This is not noise. This is serious African and Nigerian history unfolding right now. If you care about justice, power, and Nigeria's image before the world, then you must watch this video till the very end. Please, before we begin, subscribe to this channel. Turn on your notification bell, so you don't miss verified updates like this. Now let's get straight into it. Ibrahim Traoré has spoken. And when he speaks, Africa listens. He did not speak with noise. He did not speak with anger. He spoke with calm strength and clear purpose. Ibrahim Traoré openly called on Judge Omotosho and President Bola Tinubu to obey any orders and updates coming from the African Union panel that is currently investigating the life imprisonment sentence given to Nnamdi Kanu. This call did not come by accident. It came because something is not right. Let us slow this down and understand the weight of this moment. Nnamdi Kanu was sentenced to life imprisonment on November 20th. That date matters, because from that moment, reactions did not stop. Soon after the sentence, Nnamdi Kanu was moved to Sokoto prison. That move raised even more questions. Not rumors. Real questions from legal minds, human rights voices, and African observers. Was the process fully clean? Was the judgment free from errors? Were international rules followed as expected? These questions did not remain inside Nigeria. They crossed borders. And that is why the African Union stepped in. Some days ago, the African Union officially set up a panel to investigate possible errors in the life sentence handed to Nnamdi Kanu. This is not normal. This is not common. The African Union does not act without reason. When it forms a panel, it means the issue has moved beyond one country. Right now, that panel is still working. The investigation is ongoing. No final report yet. No final decision yet. And that is exactly why Ibrahim Traoré spoke when he did. His message was not emotional. It was not aggressive. It was direct. He made it clear that Nigeria, its courts, and its leadership must respect the process. They must obey any outcome, instruction, or update that comes from the African Union panel. This is important. He did not say Nigeria should free anyone today. He did not say the sentence has been cancelled. He did not say the panel has decided anything yet. What he said was simple and powerful. Wait. Respect the investigation. Follow the law. This is the kind of statement that shakes power quietly. Because once Africa is watching, silence becomes loud. Once Africa is watching, every move counts. This is not just about one man anymore. This is about Nigeria's image. Nigeria's respect for African systems. Nigeria's commitment to justice beyond politics. That is why this statement matters. Judge Omotosho is now under focus. President Tinubu is now under focus. Not from bloggers. Not from social media. But from Africa itself. And the timing is critical. The investigation is still ongoing. Anything said or done now will be recorded. Anything ignored will be remembered. This is the reality of international attention. Ibrahim Traoré understands this very well. That is why his call was firm but respectful. He chose law over noise. Process over pressure. And Nigerians need to understand something clearly. This is not an attack on Nigeria. This is not an insult to Nigerian courts. This is Africa asking one of its strongest countries to act with care. When Africa speaks to Nigeria, it is not small talk. Nigeria carries weight on the continent. And with weight comes responsibility. That is the heart of this chapter. The life sentence of November 20th opened a door. The move to Sokoto prison raised eyebrows. The AU panel confirmed the seriousness of the issue. And now, Ibrahim Traoré's statement has placed a spotlight on leadership. Everything from this point forward matters. Every response. Every delay. Every silence. This is the moment where law, power, and African unity meet. And this is only the beginning. To understand how serious this moment is, we must remove emotion and look at reality. This situation is no longer local. It is no longer just a court matter inside Nigeria. It has entered African space. When the African Union sets up a panel, it sends a clear signal. It means there are strong concerns. It means the issue has crossed a legal line that Africa cannot ignore. This is why the current moment is dangerous, not in a violent way, but in a political and legal way. Nigeria is now standing between two forces. On one side is its internal system. On the other side is African authority. And both sides expect discipline. The African Union panel was not created to embarrass Nigeria. It was created to protect African legal standards. That difference matters. If errors are found in the life sentence of Nnamdi Kanu, Africa will expect correction. Not arguments. Not delays. Correction. And if no errors are found, Africa will expect Nigeria to show that the process was clean and fair. Either way, Nigeria must respond. This is where the pressure builds. Judge Omotosho's ruling is now under review, not by social media, but by an African body. That alone changes everything. Once a case enters this level, silence becomes a statement. Delay becomes a message. And resistance becomes defiance. This is why Ibrahim Traoré's call was timely. He is not waiting for the final report to warn Nigeria. He is saying, prepare your ground now. Respect what is coming. Because once the panel releases its findings, there will be no space to pretend surprise. This is also where leadership is tested. President Bola Tinubu is not being asked to interfere. He is being asked to respect process. That difference is important. Respecting process means allowing African systems to work without pressure. It means not shutting doors before facts are complete. It means not turning a legal matter into a political contest. The danger here is simple. If Nigeria is seen as ignoring the African Union, it weakens trust. Not just trust in this case, but trust in Nigeria's role as a leader in Africa. Other countries are watching quietly. They may not speak now, but they are observing. This is how history works. It moves quietly before it becomes loud. For Nigerians, this moment demands maturity. This is not a time for insults. This is not a time for false confidence. It is a time to understand that justice must look clean, not just sound strong. The life sentence given on November 20th is still standing for now. The move to Sokoto prison has already happened. But the investigation has not ended. That means nothing is final. And when nothing is final, every action must be careful. This is why this chapter matters. Because power without caution creates problems. And law without respect creates conflict. Ibrahim Traoré understands this balance. That is why his words were measured. He did not accuse. He did not command. He reminded. He reminded Nigeria that Africa is watching its own. He reminded Nigeria that leadership comes with accountability. He reminded Nigeria that justice must survive beyond borders. This is the real danger. Not noise. Not protest. But the quiet weight of African judgment. Once the panel speaks, there will be no room for excuses. Only records. Only actions. Only consequences. And that is why this moment must not be mishandled. Now we reach the point where this story becomes unavoidable. Because what happens next will not only affect one man, but Nigeria's standing before Africa. The African Union panel is still working. This must be repeated again and again so there is no confusion. The investigation is ongoing. No final report has been released. No final decision has been announced. Yet, the silence is already loud. Every day the panel continues its work, pressure quietly grows. Not from the streets. Not from online arguments. But from expectation. Africa expects Nigeria to wait. Africa expects Nigeria to listen. Africa expects Nigeria to act with care. This is where discipline matters. If the panel confirms that the process was clean, Nigeria will be expected to show calm strength. To show that justice was not rushed. To show that the system can stand international review. But if the panel identifies errors, even small ones, the situation changes completely. Because errors do not mean weakness. Refusing to correct errors does. This is the line Nigeria is approaching. President Bola Tinubu stands at a very sensitive point in history. Not because he created the case, but because he now carries the response. This is not about interfering with courts. It is about allowing truth to finish its journey. Leadership is not always about speaking. Sometimes it is about restraint. The world will not remember how loud Nigeria spoke. It will remember how Nigeria responded. Judge Omotosho's ruling remains in place for now. That is the legal reality. But legal reality can be reviewed when higher principles step in. That is why the African Union panel exists. To check process. To protect fairness. To prevent future damage. And Nigerians must understand this clearly. No country loses dignity by reviewing its actions. Countries lose dignity by refusing accountability. This is not a battle between Nigeria and Africa. This is Africa asking Nigeria to uphold the standard it helped build. That is why this moment feels heavy. Because once the panel releases its findings, there will be no middle ground. There will be a clear direction. And Nigeria will be expected to follow it. The response will define trust. Trust from African partners. Trust from global observers. Trust from future generations. This is why this case will not disappear quietly. Even if nothing changes today, the record will remain. Every statement. Every delay. Every decision. History is patient, but it never forgets. For Nigerians watching, this is the time to think beyond sides. Beyond anger. Beyond loyalty. Justice must be bigger than emotion. The life sentence handed down on November 20th changed the direction of this story. The transfer to Sokoto prison added tension. The AU panel turned tension into scrutiny. And Ibrahim Traoré's call turned scrutiny into expectation. Everything now rests on response. Will Nigeria wait for the panel? Will Nigeria respect the outcome? Will Nigeria show Africa that leadership also means listening? These questions will soon have answers. And when those answers come, they will shape more than headlines. They will shape Nigeria's legal future on the continent. This is why staying informed matters. Not informed by rumors. Not informed by noise. But informed by facts and process. This channel exists for that reason. If you want calm, clear, and serious updates as this story develops, subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you do not miss verified analysis. Share this video so others can understand the weight of this moment. Because what we are witnessing is not drama. It is history moving slowly. And when the African Union panel finally speaks, the response will echo far beyond this case. Until then, watch closely, think deeply, and remember this moment. Because Africa is watching. And Nigeria's answer will be remembered. This is where the story settles into silence, not because it has ended, but because it has reached a point where words must give way to judgment. The African Union panel continues its work, quietly and carefully. That alone should remind everyone that this matter is far from closed. Investigations do not move at the speed of emotion. They move at the speed of facts. And facts, once established, do not bend easily. What stands before Nigeria now is not pressure, but responsibility. Responsibility to process. Responsibility to fairness. Responsibility to the idea that justice must be strong enough to face review. A system that fears examination is a system unsure of itself. A system that allows review shows confidence. The life sentence given on November 20th remains part of the record. The transfer to Sokoto prison is also part of that record. These facts cannot be erased. But records are not conclusions. They are checkpoints in a longer journey. Africa's involvement has changed the meaning of this case. It has moved it from a domestic decision to a continental concern. Not because Africa wants control, but because Africa demands consistency. The same rules must apply, regardless of borders or politics. This is the point many misunderstand. The African Union panel is not an enemy of Nigeria. It is a mirror. And mirrors do not accuse. They only reflect. What happens next will speak louder than any statement. Obedience to lawful outcomes will signal maturity. Resistance will raise questions that may take years to settle. In matters like this, delay does not pause consequences. It shapes them. For the courts, this is a moment of legacy. For leadership, it is a moment of restraint. For the nation, it is a moment of reflection. Power is most respected when it shows discipline. Authority is strongest when it listens. History will not focus on anger or applause. It will focus on response. It will ask whether Nigeria chose certainty over pride, and law over impulse. These choices often feel small when made, but they grow heavy with time. No matter the outcome of the investigation, one truth remains clear. This case has already altered how justice, sovereignty, and African unity are discussed. That alone makes it significant. Silence now is not weakness. It is patience. Waiting is not surrender. It is control. And respect for process is not loss of power. It is proof of it. The panel will conclude. The findings will emerge. And when that moment arrives, there will be no space for confusion, only direction. What follows will not just close a case. It will set a standard. And standards, once set, outlive the moment that created them.